But first, let's talk AI. And the only person I can talk to about this is Mal Fletcher, the futurist. Mal, lovely to see you. How are you?
I'm good, Petrie. How are you?
Good. I'm very well indeed, thank you. Now, AI is infecting or becoming part of almost every area of our lives. But one area that is of concern is AI in schools, setting, the lesson plans and things like that. But it's also going a little bit further, isn't it? And many people are concerned about this.
Yeah, they are. I mean, there are some great advantages. And just to give you the size of the global AI education market, Petrie, it was valued at $2.5 billion American about a month ago, and it's expected to reach 20 billion in 2028. So it's growing rapidly. And if educators get it right, it will do some important things. It will help us with personalized learning, using the data of students, their emotions, their attention levels, to give teachers a better understanding of their individual needs. In fact, the UK government recently invested £3 million in a pilot scheme that stores data about students and teaching resources. There are questions about data security with that. We can come to those in a moment if you like. But there's also skills-based learning, which is really helpful in a changing market, helping to match students' aspirations with changing demands so that we can help them get the right job for them. And I think one of the most important things it's offering us is real-time language translation and speech-to-text transcription in classes and with materials. And both can help learning for people with problems with disabilities and language barriers. We have AI tutors, live student one-to-one guidance, which one university study said can approximate to about 95% the work of a human tutor. And of course, they're available 24/7, which humans aren't. The disadvantage with AI tutors is that they might provide some emotional support, but only a human can show real empathy. And these types of systems might deny students the opportunity to develop social skills needed for human collaboration.
I mean, Mal, I'm not the only one who's listening to this or watching this. I thought, cracky, the arguments about whether we could use a calculator. When we were kids, I mean, it was like you're not allowed to use a calculator. Now you've got Chat GPT, you've got all of these things, book précis. We actually had to read the whole book. There's so many resources available to children now that this is like a foreign language really to me. But with all of those great things, there are the pitfalls, and I mean, even just saying, look, asking Chat GPT to write you an original essay. I mean, my goodness, if I'd had that available to me, I don't think I'd have learned a thing.
Yeah, I think we'd all be geniuses in class and not so much
in real life, no.
There are lots of concerns. I mean, there's concerns about AI bias. AI often trains on historical data, which may be out of date by the time it's used in terms of a particular subject, or it may suffer from historical bias, for example, along racial lines. And we've talked before about AI hallucinating, which is where AI can present as fact material that's actually false or misleading or even fabricated. There are mental health issues for students. If AI is constantly monitoring the progress of students, they might feel that they're being constantly surveilled, and that can produce trauma and destroy their trust in the system. And there's also the potential for over-reliance on tech that could hinder the development of critical thinking and problem-solving skills, because students become more and more reliant, as you're suggesting. They rely on AI to complete tasks for them, and relying on it too much reduces their ability to collaborate. And that's a major skill when it comes to innovation.
It is absolutely, and failing is a major lesson to learn as well. Getting that, C- or whatever, because that's how you learn that you made a mistake. And certainly now, even with spell check, on things. I bet you ask a kid to spell a word they've just correctly put in an essay, they wouldn't be able to do it, you know, because it's in repeating and getting it wrong and being told it's wrong and then getting it right, and that's how you learn it. But the other issue for me really is that critical thinking, but it's also history being changed and taught by for example, in American schools at the moment, children in certain states, the history lessons now have to include that Donald Trump was robbed of the 2020 election, which is absolutely not true, but that is a government diktat. That's what will be taught. And so you have that sort of control on information that is fed into AI, which I don't like at all.
Yeah, well, that's one of the concerns, isn't it? That in all the rush to include AI, we might forget to teach students about the points of difference between human and machine, and the importance of having humans in the loop when it comes to using machines in education. And that's interesting because one of the things we're noticing is a rising movement against the overuse of AI coming from AI's biggest market, which is Generation Z, aged between about 15 and 35. This has embraced AI faster than any other group in our country. But their relationship with it's very complex. On the one hand, they're excited. On the other, they're as concerned as you and I, and even anxious about it, in some cases angry. Something like 53% of Gen Z young adults say that AI makes them feel anxious. Part of the concern is AI-driven content that contains inaccurate information and reduces attention spans. And they're also really upset about the fact that it's so hard for them to switch off from the digital noise. I think some of that's going to lead them to push back. This is a generation that is looking to reform things. That's by nature one of its major characteristics. I think some of them will see AI as an area needing reform, and some will become what I call techno-refuseniks, who want the benefits of AI, but will only use it on a very limited basis. They don't want AI to significantly define who they are. And some might even form action groups to reform the way AI is used in education. They might fight the spread of data farms across the countryside that we're seeing now, and the growing demands of AI on the power grid. So when it comes to the goods and the bads of AI, Gen Z is definitely the generation to watch.
I mean, the other thing to consider as well, Mal, is that schools, the buildings, the actual buildings that children go to, are very expensive. So if you could get rid of schools and have children taught virtually by AI, I mean, imagine the savings that would produce for a government, but then you're not teaching children about getting up, going out, putting on a uniform, which is supposed to mimic office clothes, meeting people, talking, socializing, and this is the future that I see, is AI driving. The biggest fear for me is that AI drives human beings apart. That we don't have there's any need to collect and learn about socialization anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And one of those points of difference I mentioned is the ability to empathize.
Yeah.
We've talked about that, I think, before, but it's so important that we train not only the students, but where programs for learning active listening or empathic responding are made available to parents and teachers as well. Because we all need to remember that the one thing AI can't crack is that very human ability to empathize, because empathy requires that shared human experience, and by definition a machine can't have that. I think in the age of high tech, and this is what Gen Z is starting to realize, high touch will be even more important than it was before.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and it's all happening so quickly, isn't it? And this is the thing, we all think it's so great, and it is mostly, it's good, but if we don't figure out the human necessities in this world, we're going to lose them.
Yeah, and an over-reliance on AI, by the way, can block the development of processes like memory, or cognitive downloading, as psychologists call it, if we stop trying to learn because we can store it online or simply look it up on the phone, the brain starts to reallocate space it would normally give to short-term memory. So we become, in a sense, digitally demented.
Yeah, I completely get that. I can remember my phone number from when I was a kid, but I can't remember any phone numbers now. So, but I still have that phone number in my head.
Yeah, I'm much the same. And I think there's a growing problem with attention control too, and schools will have to address that. 49% of UK adults recently said they feel their attention span has declined in recent times through things like smartphones and social media, but AI is going to increase that by increasing the number of AI-driven algorithms that deliver us these targeted messages which trigger dopamine and feed gratification. That makes us all more likely to keep scrolling for more and reduces our ability to focus. So lots of positives, but some real negatives too.
Yeah, I mean, even on something like TikTok, you can speed it up and it's only about a minute long in the first place. I don't know. Nobody's got the attention span to sit there and watch it. Mal, I could talk to you for hours as usual. Thank you very much indeed. It's always such a joy to talk to you. Mal Fletcher, a futurist.